Will all who are able please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now ask for a roll call vote to establish a quorum.
Director Asner. Director Suda.
Present.
Director Sartorius.
Here.
Director Beamer.
Here.
Vice President Cuneo.
Here.
President State.
Here. A quorum being present, welcome all to this business meeting. I now invite Chief of Communications Jennifer Henry to the podium for a special presentation to the board regarding SSD's Teachers of the Year.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Henry, Chief of Communications for SSD. I'm here tonight with Chantel Chandler, our Director of Marketing, to honor our Teachers of the Year and support staff winners from our partner districts. We are fortunate to have a lot of amazing staff throughout the county and throughout our partner districts. And tonight we want to take an opportunity to recognize those staff members who were honored in their partner districts for either being Teacher of the Year, Support Staff Employee of the Year, or other special recognition. These staff members make a difference in the lives of our SSD students and families every day, and we're happy to honor them tonight. When I call your name, please come forward. We're going to present you with a certificate, and then we'll have you wait up here for a photo. Our first honoree is Jen Eilers. She's from Lindbergh. She was the Building Teacher of the Year for Sappington Elementary. Just hang out right here. Our next honoree is Melissa Hearn from Hazelwood. She was the Building Teacher of the Year for Drury Elementary. Our next honoree is Beth Hine from Lindbergh. She was the Support Staff Employee of the Year for Dressel Elementary. And I paused for a minute because I know that some people ran into some traffic, so I'm not sure if all honorees are able to be here with us right now because of all of the traffic backed up outside. So we're fortunate to have, I think, everyone here now. Our next honoree is Michaela Jackson from Maplewood Richmond Heights. She was named Special Educator for Maplewood Richmond Heights Middle School. Next up is Kelsey McGee from Pattonville. She was named Building Teacher of the Year for Parkwood Elementary. Next, we have Michelle Peterson from Lindbergh. She does not appear to be with us this evening, but she was the Building Support Staff Employee of the Year for Crestwood Elementary. Next is Michelle Ross from Ladue. She was named Building Teacher of the Year for Spady Elementary. Up next is David Spellman from Maplewood Richmond Heights. He was named the Building Support Staff Employee of the Year for Maplewood Richmond Heights Early Childhood. And finally, we have Angie Wickman from Melville. She was named Building Teacher of the Year for Beerbaum Elementary. We have other honorees who were not able to be with us tonight. So for the full list of our partner district staff who were honored by their partner districts, you can look on board docs. So please come together and we'll get a picture with you with the board. And then you guys are going to have to angle in just a little bit so we can get you.
Oh, I don't need to. There you are.
Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3.
Congratulations. We invite our honorees and their guests out to the area outside the superintendent communications office for some refreshments. And we have our banner out there for some photos as well. Thank you.
Thank you all. Congratulations again. Now we have public comment. Up to 30 minutes each meeting is set aside to hear public comments. Each comment is limited to 3 minutes to address any items that is a legitimate part of the business of the board. Time limits are strictly observed and speakers are invited to the podium. First up, we have Paul Kaufman.
Good evening, members of the board and Dr. Macklin. In my capacity as an SDNEA rep in Parkway, I had a member reach out to me today. I'm speaking about 7.11, which is the SDNEA salary ratification. And that person said to me, how is it that you were able to get a good deal? What is it that you had to give up? And I said, nothing. We didn't have to give up anything. And they said, well, how are you able to do this? And I said, in a word, you have your Board of Education to thank. And the reason I said that is that Dr. Lyles made it clear to us during negotiation that this board said, we do not want anyone to take a pay cut moving into next year. And we said, well, if you're considering the longevity stipend without rolling that into the salary schedule, that would not be possible. And someone who might have made $6,000 with their step in longevity next year, that would be off the table unless we didn't do that. So because of that, we were able to come to an agreement in March, which we've not been able to do before, to my knowledge. And rather than sweating this out in May, you're able to vote on that tonight. And that only happened because of the direction the board gave the team. And I just wanted to thank the board for that. In spirit of cooperation, the SSD leadership team has been part of Dare to Lead, the Brene Brown series. And a guiding principle in that is that clear is kind. In other words, transparency is something that should be welcome, and to have a great working environment, transparency is needed. In the spirit of that transparency is next year we'll be negotiating salary and language, and it is a practice of other school districts to have a board member present negotiations. We do hope that we can see one of you at the table next year so we can hopefully have a quick resolution and an equitable agreement that will be beneficial for all. Thank you again, board members, and thank you, Dr. Macklin.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Tim Eby.
Good evening,
Good evening.
President Staton,
Good evening.
Vice President Cuneo, Superintendent Macklin, Dr. Macklin, and members of the board. I'm Tim Eby. I'm the Executive Director of the Special Education Foundation. And I was looking at your board calendar, and I think if you looked at it, you are probably breathless because you have so many things going on in the next month ahead. But I am here to share with you of a couple of other items that I just wanted to let you know about. And if any of you could attend, we would love to have you. The first is our Fred Sy Leadership Academy graduation, which is happening on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. at Emerson Auditorium at St. Luke's Hospital in Chesterfield. The graduation is not only a celebration of the year that our Leadership Academy students went through, it's actually part of their program because these students have to put together a 3-minute speech where they talk about their experiences over the last year. And it is an incredibly rewarding to be there and be a part of that. And so if you can join us on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 o'clock, food and refreshments will also be available for that event. And also we have another celebration that you'll be getting an invitation to. It's a celebration for Debbie Smith. Debbie has been the longtime coordinator for the Fred Sy Leadership Academy. She's a retired SSD administrator, and we are going to do a retirement celebration for her in this room on Thursday, May 15th from 4 to 6 p.m. And again, you will get an invitation for that event, but we'd love to have you join us for some refreshments and to celebrate the amazing accomplishments that Debbie has done in leading that program and the impact that she's had on just dozens and dozens of students over the years. Finally, I wanted to address one other item that's on the agenda, and that is the statement from SSD on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And just note that the Special Education Foundation is fully supportive of the work that SSD is doing to make a welcoming and inclusive environment for our students and for everyone involved in the SSD community. So on behalf of all of us at SEAF, thank you for having the courage to speak out and making that statement. And it ties into something that in one final comment I'd just like to address. I'm on the board of directors of the National Association of Education Foundations, and we had our national conference last month in March down in Knoxville, Tennessee. And a big part of the discussion was both around the idea of inclusion and in public education, but it was more about the idea of public education. And a lot of education foundations, and we're going to be a part of this, are leading an effort around the movement of public schools and how important it is to make that statement about the importance of public schools to being a place that really provides that opportunity for folks to advance and to grow. And SEF supports all of the efforts that you do with the special school district and this movement. And I'm happy to talk with you further about it. It's called I Love Public Schools. And we have t-shirts and banners and buttons. And we're looking to really try to grow this movement here in St. Louis because I think it's so important. And we're happy to be a partner with you on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I now ask if there is a motion to approve the consensual items. Is
So moved.
second? Is there any discussion? There's no discussion? All in favor? All opposed? The motion to approve consensual items carries. Okay, we now proceed with tonight's superintendent report.
Great, thank you. Tonight, we will have three presentations. First, we will hear from Dr. Diggs. I believe Dr. Lowe is here and his team regarding really the equity plan or the equity work that has taken place. The last two presentations here will be from Dr. Bolton, and she will update the board on third quarter results regarding strategic plan and CSIP. I think Dr. Bolton is also joined by Dr. Trauber, am I correct? For the second one, okay. And so, Dr. Diggs, you can come to the podium here with your team here for the presentation. While they're coming to the podium, I do want to read a statement regarding DEIA from the superintendent and the Board of Education. As national conversations around DEIA, diversity, equity, and inclusion, continue, I want to reassure the community that SSD remains in full compliance with federal and civil laws, including Title IV, Title VI, and Title IX. These laws protect students from staff discrimination and help ensure that all schools and workplaces remain equitable and, most importantly, inclusive environments. In response to the most recent federal guidance, the Missouri Department of Education, DESE, submitted documentation on behalf of all Missouri school districts, including SSD, confirming compliance with these legal requirements. This process demonstrates our district's continued commitment to meet federal standards while supporting the unique needs of the students in our schools' communities. We continue to follow all legal guidance while ensuring that every student and every staff member is supported, respected, and given an equitable opportunity to succeed. Dr. Diggs.
Here we go.
Thank you and good evening, President Staten, Vice President Cuneo, members of the school board, and also Dr. Macklin, our superintendent. Thank you for having us today. Today's work is entailing a culmination of a 5-year journey in regards to the equity framework, and this is an update that we're going to serve you with today. Joining me in this conversation is Jeremy Lowe, the Director of Equity for Teaching and Learning, and the goal for this presentation, again, is to provide an update and also progress on the district's work. Having said that, we'll start here. As a department, we are a group of individuals that comprise to be very responsive to the needs of the district and also of our leaders. We strive to be sure that we uphold the value of equity when it comes to safety, support, and inclusion for all families, students, and also our staff. The work that we do as a diverse group of individuals in a department, we provide actionable knowledge and resources so that our leaders can advocate for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And again, thank you, Dr. Macklin, for your words. As a department, our goal for this work is thus: we try to strengthen and work really hard to do that piece. when it comes to programming decisions in two big buckets, one of those being high quality professional learning and then also leadership development. In the spirit of leadership development, we have put together this inclusive leadership self-assessment with the goal being for every district leader to be in that number 3 space. And that is where we are able to be actionable with our knowledge and to advocate for the learning of inclusion across our places and spaces in the county. Next, the goal for our work is in 3 big buckets, if my clicker is working with me or against me. The first of the 3 goals is for DEIA competencies. For us to measure that level of growth, we have done a pre-assessment already. The post-assessment will come and we'll get that information to you in our June conversation. But furthermore, we strive to have 85% ratings in our professional learning experiences where we're able to indicate, or our participants are able to indicate that they can apply their professional learning in their space in real time. And what you can see right now is that Jeremy Lowe with his work is averaging a 94%. And so we're striving and we're killing that one. And then the last but not least, when it comes to school and department inclusive operational practices, the goal is to see a 10% growth as we're measuring that work. Right now, we're averaging 24, having finished with the technology department and moving into transportation. Next, with the equity framework, a very robust document, 5 years, 1 equity statement, 3 essential questions, 8 guiding principles with a slew of collective actions. And having said that, all 23 of those collective actions are either completed, ongoing, or going through a review by DLT, and we're at 100% after 5 years of work, and that's big to say for a district of our size, moving in one direction. So thank you for all of their hard work. But it also led us in a space to where we're asking deeper questions. One of those being, how can we measure the work that we're doing and also demonstrate those pieces? And then the second question that we were able to just uncover through this work is, what ways can we empower individuals at every level of our organization? We believe that we're just leaders of leaders. So when we break this apart, we're going to talk about some other buckets. My work in connection with Dr. Bolton, we do some CSIP and strategic priority conversations where we're looking at, hey, is there anything that we're missing in regards to diverse perspectives, where we're seeking the solutions to certain problems, but then also, can the solution be experienced at every section of our county? And then I will yield to Jeremy Lowe as he's going to bring us with instructional targets.
Thank you, Dr. Diggs. Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It is such an immense and honorable pleasure to be here to speak about this progress that my team has made. I could not have done this work without the loving embrace of my team, as well as the full department. I have felt that from the district office all the way to each and every single school that we serve. I appreciate every moment that I have been here at the special school district. Our 3 targets for this year were to first create a professional development, or to enhance and scale the professional development that we have had for the course of the last 5 years. We have done that, as well as looked forward to the next 4 or 5 years with additional library contents. We have achieved over 94% of our participants saying that they have and will learn and can apply their new learning to their work and their practice. We are also not satisfied with that work. We are migrating to Canvas to ensure that we can reach more participants and more of the hearts and minds of every SSD staff. And then finally, to ensure that each of those processes and all of that work ensures some form of equity look for or lens that our staff are using in terms of mindset and mind frame. Boy, howdy, that is sticky. There we go. To that note, we have provided over 140 professional developments, sometimes 4 a day. We did that to ensure that we could have over 700 staff members. Sometimes we would have professional developments of 3 to 4 participants, all the way up to 60 participants. But we wanted to make sure that we offered a variety of intimate environments, as well as differentiated environments for our participants. Not only that, we were able to make sure that we differentiated our instruction per location, department, school, etc. So for example, in our vocational skills program, as well as at Southview, we focused on trauma-informed safe spaces for the vocational skills program. What does that look like at the work site location? And then at Southview, what does that look like at an elementary school? We did this with the technology department to ensure interdepartmental collaboration around ticket systems. And we did that in various other school districts. And we also made sure that we reached out to our parents, and we did that at our Parent Advisory Council, providing crucial conversation protocols and ways to speak to their schools so that they can have a positive outcome with their child's IEP team meeting. At this note, I'm going to give the mic back to Dr. Diggs. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Jeremy. Our colleague couldn't be here this evening, Dr. Chambers, and she's the one that is spearheading a lot of our operational work. The first of those being the E3 process. That is where we're getting together to review and understand the alignment of positions, roles, responsibilities, and then the second and third goal that she's involved in are really connected with one another. One of those is facilitating the development of implementation plans, and then the professional development within those departments, specifically around their operational practices, procedures, and also the impact on employee well-being in those spaces. Next. This is just a really quick overview of the E3 process that we go through. First starts with the inquiry from the superintendent, and then we go through a very robust, in-depth process of understanding, building context, asking questions, and then we map those pieces then to try to understand where the inequities may lie. Furthermore, when we talk about operational practices and the assessments that we use with departments, we first try to understand the needs. We mentioned technology department already, but we're also going through a process with our transportation department. And then after that, we put together a plan based off of what we've collected, and then we follow up as needed to support the leader in that space. And then the next piece is, this is really something amazing that we were able to accomplish recently in our tech school space, North Tech and South Tech. We connected with leaders of the maintenance department as well as technology, and they were having questions about, hey, what can we do to create a pipeline of students that we're already working with through our tech schools to employ them as interns. We created an internship environment where we were able to work with students to give them resume prep help, interview practice, as well as troubleshoot some of their own ideas around, hey, what does the job force look like? And we can help you with that. So that was amazing. 27 young people attended, and I believe a handful are going to be picked up in the district. Next, we are also striving with some inclusion efforts. I've already mentioned this already with transportation. The signs have already been up. We're ready to engage to, again, strengthen that department. And then as we slowly land the plane, there was an inquiry from one of our teacher groups within South Tech, because what they wanted to do and find out is what would it take or look like for us to increase our inclusivity with families that may speak another language. And so going through that, working with many different departments to understand what that solution may look like. But what's amazing with what Jeremy Lowe just mentioned, a lot of this work is interdepartmental. It takes many people, many voices, many hats to be successful. And last but not least, we also wrapped up a 3-part series at Ackerman in regards to inclusion efforts. I'm really excited about that work as well. And so team, I love to end with quotes. And again, I do believe Helen Keller says it the best. Alone, we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And I really appreciate all of your support these 5 years, as well as my colleagues on the ELT team for us to do this together. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Like,
Strategic plan?
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, did you have a question? I apologize.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Dr.
Sorry,
Diggs,
Dr. Diggs.
Dr. Lowe,
Yeah, yes.
questions.
I'm sorry. It was like,
Yeah, yeah, that's
I didn't
okay.
give a long enough pause.
I was saying, all right.
Yes,
All right.
thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yes,
It's incredible work that you're doing, and the impact on staff is just amazing. Your numbers are really great. I like where you are going on slide 12. You talk about measuring and demonstrating impact on students. I think that's clearly our next step. That's once we get the adults in the organization on board, of course, we want that impact to trickle down to students. So I'm eager to see where we go with that. And I know there are always so many moving parts. Measuring the impact of a single effort can be challenging, but I'm really looking forward to that student impact. And then on page 16, I had a question. You're not working with every district. How are you how do you decide which districts to engage with? And forgive me if I asked this once before, but I'm not sure.
No, you're good. Phenomenal question. And so it comes in two parts. A lot of times what we'll be focused on is that we'll focus directly on the equity teams within our SSD schools. And then with our unique capability, we're also connected across the county. And so we tap directly into the director of said space, or we may be pulled to the side by the area coordinator. And they will be very clear about the needs that they see in their environment. And so Jeremy Lowe is phenomenal, as well as Dr. Chambers, to be pulled on for leadership advice, or maybe what kind of conversations may be had to support either students or adults, and sometimes both. When I was in particular seats, I was doing both in a given day, whether it's helping students or helping our staff better connect with each other.
Great, thank you, thank you. So you're looking for people who are seeking that support.
And sometimes we just make it known. So for example, when we put together our equity retreat, which is normally over the summer, a year and a half ago, we put together a toolkit that we gave out to everybody. That way, if we aren't able to reach you, we also give you tools for you to access in time. And with Jeremy's work connected to professional learning, he's developing this huge swath of opportunity to tap in for different levels of learning for whatever you may be seeking or may not.
Fantastic. And I see Teaching Tolerance as one of your resources. They're phenomenal. They are just a really resource-rich organization. And
Yes,
I'm glad to hear that you're connected with them.
100%.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You gave me the thumbs up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Here we go. Good evening, President Staten, Vice President Cuneo, Dr. Macklin, and Board of Directors. My name is Molly Bolton. I am the Chief of Teaching, Learning, and Accountability, and I am here tonight to present our third quarter updates for our CSEP and strategic plan. So just a quick reminder, this is the third year of our 5-year plan. So we're over halfway now. So that's exciting. This next slide is just really explaining the difference between the Comprehensive School Improvement Plan, or CSEP plan, and the strategic plan. With the strategic plan being more focused on the district as a whole, including operations as well as the instructional side. And then our Comprehensive School Improvement Plan, or CSEP plan, is really focused in and honed in on the impact on the instructional side, especially with students. So we'll begin with our strategic plan progress. As we look at our 1.1 strategy, we are really 1.1 and 1.2, if you'll remember, those two teams have combined because the work is so closely related. We are continuing our work with MoreNet, and we do have a partner district commitment to work with us through the building of those data systems for next year. And so we're super excited about that. And we're continuing to work with Educational Analytics as well as MoreNet to get the system up and started. It's quite the process, as you can imagine. Also, our new student information system focus, we have started looking at some of the analytic tools that are available in that student information system, and started some training with that. Moving forward, really kind of finalizing what the scope is going to look like with our partnerships, and working on a lot of those key pieces, and then continuing our work on key performance indicators, or KPIs. We're hoping to bring some of that work to you. My next report out on this with the fourth quarter report, so we can show you some initial pieces with those KPIs as well. Moving on to strategic goal 2, and that's looking at our resources. 2.1 has been completed, and that work fed into strategy 2.2. And this work has really been centered around another project that we have been working on in collaboration with SDNEA. We did a retreat a few years ago to talk about a caseload workload formula for our staff. And so this work kind of dovetails into that because we are looking for that efficient distribution of resources. One of our biggest resources is human resources. And so really looking at that distressed community index to be a factor in there. We're also utilizing a lot of that work when we look at our reallocation process. So we're going to, that strategy is continuing to support the caseload workload formula, and then really looking at how do we integrate that work and this particular strategy into the broader systems of our district. As we move on to strategic goal 3, looking at our multi-channel communication strategies. 3.1, you'll remember, is around our business partners and working to solidify that. As Dr. Diggs talked about, each one of our strategy teams went through an equity audit. This particular strategy just completed that equity audit with Dr. Diggs, and really are thinking about geography as we try to expand our partnerships. Also defining what partnerships look like with those collaborators. Mostly we're starting with those that don't involve financial commitments for those partnerships. So they're working on a who's who list. So if you need to contact somebody, you can get directly to that person. And then also continuing to work on those frequently asked questions that folks might have about our district if they want to partner with us. 3.2 is our family engagement strategy. They too have finished their equity analysis. And then they are digging into, you might remember last time we reported, we were getting ready to do the family survey through Panorama. And so they are in the process of analyzing those results and creating action plans based on those results. They are also, future work includes, they've been working on an infographic about the evaluation for special education process. This is a process that is very complicated, and many times our families don't understand it. So we're really trying to create tools that our families can use to better understand the process so that they feel more confident with it. They are also collaborating with a team on revising our IEP family survey. So after a family completes an IEP, they have the opportunity to fill out a survey. And we're really looking at what are some of the questions that will really measure our impact and help us to continually improve those processes. So they are working on that as well. Hope to have that ability to roll that out very, very soon. And then working on, they're ending their theory of change. So working on that sustainability plan. Much of this work will be turned back over to our family and community engagement division, our FACE division, to continue the work moving forward. 3.3 is establishing those communication systems among departments with our staff. And they are creating a process map for engaging our internal stakeholders. And then gathering feedback. They did a pilot with our DEIA department, and they are gathering feedback from that group and then doing a process improvement on the prototype that they developed. And we'll be presenting that to our district leadership team, and then working on those next pieces in the process. So looking at their communication plan, their sustainability plan, as well as performance measures. And then they're going to begin their work with the behavior analysis, applied behavior analysis division as their next project. I'm going to pause there, and I know I don't have a question slide on here, but I'm going to just pause there, see if there's any questions about the strategic plan before I move into the comprehensive school improvement.
Yeah, question on page 6 with equitable support for students. That's involving the NEA, that's the NEA program. But
Yes.
I'm really interested, we can look at IEP numbers and, minutes and things like that.
Mhm.
But I guess my concern is looking at the students' needs and trying to how do we measure student needs other than just minutes?
Yeah.
Because we know some kids who are having more issues
Mhm.
and need more services. It's hard to determine what's the gravity there. And to me, that's a key point that you guys I know are trying to address, but how do we do that?
Yep.
How do we make
So
sure?
here, yeah. So that was part of this committee's work to start with. And so some of the things, and these are just a few of the factors, and I can definitely share those factors again with you in a Friday packet. But some of the factors include if a student has a behavior intervention plan, if a staff member is across more than one school, because you have that travel time, you have that time to build connections within that school and those families. If a student has more complex needs, so looking at potentially nursing support, or if they're using a communication device. So those are just a few of the factors. We actually have a chart of, I want to say maybe 12 to 13 different characteristics that we're looking at to get to your exact point.
Right.
The complexity of some of our students is more than just about the number of minutes or the number of kids on your caseload. So really, and we've really worked very closely with SDNEA and through our pilot process and getting feedback from teachers, related service providers, other folks, just to say, hey, are we thinking of everything? Are there other factors that you really feel impact your workload that we are not considering that we need to consider?
Yeah, I really commend you doing that, to really try to get a broad perspective of this data. Because it's some of
Not
the
just numbers.
intangible.
Not at all.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Thank you for that. Yes.
I have a question on, can you tell me more about the family IEP survey? What's included and what is it?
Yeah, I can actually give you a copy of our
That
current
would be
one,
fantastic.
but know that we are making revisions to
I was
it.
just trying to figure out what it is and who's all included.
Yes.
Just give me a quick overview and maybe shoot
Absolutely,
me out
and we
an
can
email
share it with you. So that survey is sent to families, or it could be presented. One of the ways we present it is we do have QR codes at the end of some of our IEPs, and they can just snap it on their phone and then take the survey when they have a moment. Or some of our case managers email that to them after the meeting. So it's sent to them in a variety of ways. But those questions are, how was your IEP meeting? Were you satisfied with the results? Did you feel like you were it was a collaborative experience, those types of things.
Okay, so for family, you're meaning parent or guardian that you're sending it to?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
I was trying to figure out if there was anybody else that you had in that.
No, our families.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, one more question.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead. I already had my turn. You go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I'm actually following up from Dr. Sartorius on the caseload workload formula. I think that's such important work, and I'm really happy to hear you're digging into it. I know it's a really big job. Do you have any actionable pieces that will be able to be put into play for next school year?
We are hoping to roll it. So this year we have piloted it with 2 districts in one of our SSD schools. And then next year, actually 3 districts. Sorry, we had a large, a medium, and a small district, and then we added our one SSD school. And next year we are hoping to roll it district wide. We do have data district wide, but we've really focused our feedback on these 3 districts in our one school to provide us feedback with our stakeholder interviews and things like that. So we are hoping as of July 1, we'll be ready to go.
That's great. And I know that we'll learn as we go. And
Absolutely.
you'll
It's
have the
always a
support of the
process
board.
improvement.
If more support is needed in
Great.
any realm.
That was
Appreciate
my question. I know we got a
Thank you.
presentation on it
Yeah.
when
We did.
it first came, so there'll be a follow-up. Just
Absolutely.
so
I think,
excited about that.
yeah, there will be.
Okay. I'm just,
That sounds like a board request. We'll make sure.
is it?
It's a board request.
It does
We
not
will
have to
make
be a
sure it happens.
presentation. It does not have
We're
to
hoping
be.
to have
But I think it's really exciting.
We're hoping to have our results of our pilot by June, like a report, a
Mhm.
more formal report by June. So would be more than happy to bring that back to you guys.
I want to shift gears away from that just a little bit if I
Sure.
could. On the parent surveys, the panorama, I'm really interested in that because as a parent, I find that it's really hard to get other parents involved. And we have folks in every district in our own schools that are really working hard on this. But you guys are offering a variety of trainings, of support programs. We have the foundation helping us out, but it's how do we really get the parents engaged in that is it, and I'm not sure how we do that, but that's been a topic I think that the parents that are working in all the schools are trying to come up with too. So I'm really anxious to see where we're going with that.
Yeah.
How do we really get parents engaged in with their kids?
Yeah, and I think if you recall back to March, our FACE department, our Family and Community Engagement Department did present, and they offer just so many wonderful different, a variety of activities for our families to be involved in. But that survey really helps us to hear too, what do our families want and need from us? And so, you know, we're excited to dig into those results and come up with action plans around that.
It's exciting too.
It is. And actually, you will be receiving at our June work study, I think it is. We will be digging into panorama results. So you'll be able to look at our staff, our students, as well as our family and community members. A little bit deeper.
Yeah.
All right.
I just want to
Yeah.
say again, I was really excited when I saw the case load formula. And so if y'all weren't planning a presentation, please share the report.
Absolutely.
Because when it was
Absolutely.
presented, I got really excited. So
That'd
thank
be
you.
awesome.
So, just pick up on that, integrating the distress community index and the caseload formula work. Is there a way that we can, present it at a board hearing? I'd love to have since we got damned in the paper about the one thing, I'd love to show how this was being done and have it somehow
That's a good
picked
point.
up somewhere. It would make it look like, yes, the decisions were data-based and were not willy-nilly.
Mhm.
And when I read the articles in the paper, it appeared that there was no thought in any of our decisions. And I would love, I'm not saying they'd print it, but it would be nice if they would pick up the data and then show the reasoning behind it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd like to see it here in case it's picked up.
All right. We're going to move on with this, the comprehensive school improvement plan. So as we look at goal 1, proactively planning for student success, our first strategy team from that is around, it's actually run by our transition department, but it's that positive post-secondary outcomes. And so I know you guys have had a presentation on how we're integrating charting the life course into our IEP process and working on a training plan for that. So that rollout has been accomplished. We have a rollout planned. We know who's going to be trained next year. Our focus will be on high schools and middle schools. And then the following year will be our elementary schools. And so also looking at how do we integrate that self-determination pieces into that training so that we can continue working with our students on those self-determination skills. Another exciting piece is collaborating with the University of Missouri St. Louis, and they are helping us on that self-determination side by helping us create a reliable, valid tool, survey tool that we can use with our students on self-determination. And then we are also working on some specific groups for the charting the life course and the IEP. One being the paraprofessional group, as well as the speech language pathologists. So just kind of trying to customize it so that they understand the language, they understand the tools, and then how that applies to their specific roles. So they'll be finalizing the grant, finishing up that para training and working with SLPs. The next one is really talking about improving those connections between our student data and research-based factors. And so this is Alan's team, which kind of connects back to that strategy team that he's working on too. So he's going to be working with Melville School District to really look from their student data side, making some connections and kind of do a case use with that. And then looking at how those outcomes are coming out. So you can look forward to seeing that case use soon. Really working on their prototype, and this case use will really kind of drive what that prototype looks like for different dashboards, where we can analyze the data. And then Alan is also working very closely with Matt Trauber's team in 1.1 on that data integration piece. Right now we have a lot of standalone dashboards that we're using, but it would be so nice to have that integrated piece. 1.3 is working on that collaborative planning with our partners. So really working with the communications team to build out that two-way communication between our partner districts and our departments. And so they are reviewing some survey data that they took on what that could look like, and then planning out some focus groups so that they can look and revise, do a cycle of improvement on the partnership agreement, as well as the administrator principal collaboration tool. Moving on to goal 2, looking at coordinating our decision making with student supports. Kelly Grigsby's group, which is really looking at that, developing that philosophy for us in special education, is generating a list of operational definitions as well as names for different programming and service delivery models. One thing we've noticed in our district, if you go to one district, we may call a classroom that services mostly students with autism one name, and you go to a different district and we call it something else, even though their programming is very similar. So really working on kind of standardizing what we call our programs so that folks know what we're talking about when we talk about that. So they are also going to be working on updating the handbooks using that standard operation language and definitions. And then they are doing some breakup into subgroups, which is kind of exciting to really look at doing that review of programs and services and that data across the county. 2.2, which is our evidence-based practices. We have completed, yay, our course guide for our core programs. So super excited, just brought that to DLT today. We're super excited to roll that out to our partner districts. Many of our partner districts are very excited about using that tool. And then we have our prototype of our evidence-based practices tool that we're using so that our staff can find our evidence-based practice tools more efficiently and effectively. And we are going to be hopefully ready to roll that out at the beginning of this year. So we're making final touches on that. So we're working on that sustainability plan for both of those, as well as our communication rollout plan. Our final CSIP goal, if I can get it to advance, is our mobility goal. Mark, could you please advance? And this is led by Kevin Andert. They also completed their equity audit with their strategy and making sure there is alignment between the equity framework and the strategy. And they are collaboratively problem solving around the youth served in the juvenile detention center. You may remember from previous updates, they were journey mapping some of the pieces for students who have high mobility rates in the county. And so now they've kind of focused in on those students in the juvenile detention center and what their journey would look like. Really finalizing some of those handbook pieces for guidance for our teachers who may receive a student who's been in transition, as well as some quick start cards to really just help have those resources readily available for our staff as they're receiving those transfer students. And then they are also working on succession planning as they're nearing the end of their work. So I will now open it up for questions for the CSIP. Yeah.
Hi, I love that resource guide draft was completed. Is it possible, I know that we're saying that to the department districts, is it possible that we could also place that on the webpage?
We will, yes.
And mainly because I would like to see everybody get a chance to look at it,
Absolutely.
not just our schools. It would be nice to have other schools around the state of Missouri take a look at it.
Absolutely. Yes, it will be on our website. We plan on promoting it at our Principals Institute this summer, as well as with our liaisons. We're
I'm
gonna
just
put it
going
out
on the
there.
grounds with that much work.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it put
That's
out.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to feedback on that, with school choice being an issue that the
Yes.
state's dealing with right now. You guys do such a phenomenal job of really analyzing data, information, teacher perspectives. We should be a shining light for other districts so that folks in other districts outside St. Louis County
Mhm.
who may be looking at choices say, we can do with their help right here, what they're doing. And you all have all the resources that you've been working on developing, and some way how we can maybe share that with others. And I know Dr. Macklin has thought about that too, of how do we help other districts with kids in their area where it's lacking.
Yeah.
Um,
Another resource that we do have is we do belong to the Show Me Curriculum Coordinators Association, which is a statewide organization. So I am president of that organization right now, so we can get that out there.
No, it's. My reasoning on that is I watched what's happening in Texas right now with, the school of choice, the monies that's going in, the 10 grand that was following, I believe it was a student, but 20 grand if it was, if the individual was in special ed programming. It would be nice to show why it is important to have a separate program like this. And what happens if you have the resources and how you can show something that is data-based and is effective, and how we can get it out throughout the state of Missouri, not just here.
Absolutely. Thank you.
But they can't have our excellent teachers.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't have you, Molly. It's too bad.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the report. I'm seeing, through lines of alignment and standardization, and those are all good things to see. You talked about the integrated dashboard. I'm a big fan of dashboards. If there was something, a way for the board to see progress on a dashboard, I think that would also help us do what you're intending to do, which is to eliminate some of the duplication of assessments that can be so common. As a classroom teacher, we saw that a lot, and it just happens, and it needs to be noticed and addressed and integrated. And then my other question is about partnership agreements. I did notice when I joined the board that there's a pretty big variety in partnership agreements. And are we looking at standardizing those agreements from district to district to make sure that there's more standardization? Is that something that we're looking at?
Yeah, our partnership agreements are really unique to the district. And so just because of through that lens, but there are some pieces in the agreement, whether it's transportation or whether it's the needs of students that are standardized, but we can take a look at those pieces. That presentation comes from the board every fall for approval, so we can look at those pieces.
Yeah, still,
And I think they have a lot of those key curriculum and instruction, transportation, those key areas, but it can look very different.
Yes, I've only seen it. I've only been cycled through it once as a board member, but I did notice that they're very different. So I'm curious about that. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I think as a Board of Education, very proud of the CSIP and strategic work here. You can see that it's aligned and it's really permeated through the organization in all pieces and all aspects. And so very proud of that work that continues.
All right. So with that, I'm going to ask Matt to come up and join me. And we will move on to our next report, which is the MSIP monitoring reports. So these first slides should look very familiar. One back one. Thank you. Just a quick reminder, the purpose of these reports is to fulfill our duty to DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed, for our program monitoring. And so we try to bring them to you if we have a report coming to the board and we are reviewing that program. We try to integrate it into the presentation of that particular area, and then we try to group the others together so that we are making sure we are reviewing those programs either annually or every 2 years. So tonight we're looking at employee wellness, legal services and compliance, library media centers, and safety and security. And with that, I will turn it over to Matt.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to quickly overview these 4 reports for you tonight. So this is just a little describer of what you see in the reports. You've seen it before, but basically each report includes a description of the indicators that are used to evaluate or monitor that program, along with the target that we set for each indicator. Then there's a column for results that is color coded to help you see where we're meeting the expectation and whether the trend is going in the direction we'd want it to go in or not. And then there's a supporting details column where we provide additional context for the results sometimes, or we will further describe the metrics themselves in the hopes that that helps the consumers of the report understand it. So I think that the data in these reports across the 4 programs show that each program is doing a fairly strong job of meeting their core objectives, and we'll look at each one individually. So our employee wellness program is overseen by our insurance and benefits department. It is fully funded by our insurance provider, Aetna. They provide $200,000 a year for this program. And then we have approximately 70 volunteer wellness champions that are members of our staff across the district that help raise awareness of our wellness offerings and promote those to our staff. So you can see that for that first indicator, participation, our participation in wellness programming continues to rise. Basically, we take all wellness activities of a variety of types and lump those together for this metric to look at participation overall. Part of that jump this year is attributable to the fact that we have increased the number of health kiosks at a number of buildings in our district. So those are, if you've seen those before, it allows people to assess their blood pressure, their pulse, other health indicators, things like that. EAP utilization for SSD staff is very high. So in 2023-24, 16% of our staff accessed EAP services. So as a comparable, when you look at the industry average for that year, that was only 8.9%. So we were almost double the industry average. Finally, we do have one item on our staff survey every year that's given twice per year, actually, that assesses. The question is actually, SSD provides opportunities that promote employee wellness, and staff respond to the extent that they agree or disagree with that question. In 24-25, we were about 78%. Agree or strongly there, which was a little bit lower than the prior year, but quite a bit above the 22-23 result. So not quite sure what you could explain that by. It could be the fact that simply the number of staff who took the survey decreased in 2024-25, and that can impact results. So as we are a special education district, obviously it is very important that we maintain compliance with special education regulations, and that's what this monitoring report is about. So we do have a legal services division, and those first 3 indicators there kind of fall directly under the scope and coordination of that division, where the latter 3 indicators, I think of those more as the collective work and responsibility of all of our instructional staff to make sure we're achieving those indicators. So the first 3 relate to due process filings, child complaint filings, and mediations. And we seem to be doing a really good job there. We're exceeding targets, and in each of those areas, the number that have been filed has decreased this year. Then the 4th indicator is tiered monitoring. So in brief, each district every 3 years participates in this file review or tiered monitoring process, whereby a sample of IEPs, like 20 to 30 IEPs, is selected, and the district themselves does a review of those for compliance, and then DESE also conducts a review. So we are continuing to improve every year with that. We also had a improvement team that has developed and implemented some more streamlined procedures for supporting tiered monitoring that'll go into effect this year. So the hope is that helps us continue to improve. So the latter two indicators pertain to the extent to which we are completing IEPs on time and initial evaluations on time. Those are pretty ambitious goals. We still continue to fall a little bit below those goals every year. So the hope is that additional special education process trainings and things like that will continue to help us improve there. So the third program is our library and media centers. So we have at SSD schools, we employ 3 library media specialists and 5 library clerks that implement this program. It's overseen by our SSD schools curriculum division. So across those 4 indicators, the program is meeting all the goals that we have set for it. So the circulation levels are exceeding targets. The students are regularly accessing the library. Our library media specialists are doing a good job getting into the classrooms and providing lessons. And finally, when we survey staff in our SSD buildings, they are highly satisfied with the level of collaboration provided by the library media specialists. So finally, we have our safety and security response program, which is administered by our director and coordinator of safety and security. So there's 4 indicators for this. We take a look at a safety audit that's done twice per year. We look at the number of non-student related work injuries. We assess the extent to which security cameras are operational. And we also look at emergency drills and whether those are being completed as intended. So most of the results here look very strong. So for the safety audit, we've had a more structured process for collecting these data for about 3 or 4 years now. And this fall, we had our lowest number of exceptions on average across buildings that we've had since that more structured process has been in place. Non-student related work injuries, again, this is just at our SSD buildings. This year so far and last year, we're a little bit more on par with 21-22 as opposed to the lower result in 22-23. Again, it's not entirely clear why those might have gone up a little bit, but we do have a worker compliance committee that meets regularly, and they regularly take a look at and work through those data. Our security camera, the extent to which those are operational continues to be very high. Average across number of times that assessed for this school year so far is at 98.8%. It's not that long ago that the percentage here was in the 70s. I actually talked to our coordinator, Eric Eiley, the other day, and he said that for the first time they had a measurement period where we had 100% operational cameras. So it's a positive. And then finally on drills, we were at 100% compliance with implementing drills across our schools, which is an improvement over the last couple of years. So what questions might you have about these reports?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now the board will take up all action items. 7.01 strategic plan and comprehensive school improvement plan, 3rd quarter update. Is there a motion to approve the strategic plan and the CSIP 3rd quarter update?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 7.02 Missouri School Improvement Plan Program Monitoring Reports. Is there a motion to approve the MSIP program monitoring reports?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 7.03 2025-2026 school startup. Is there a motion to approve the 2025-2026 school startup?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. I want to take a second to pause, because I want to recognize somebody who wouldn't like to be recognized if they knew this was happening. So what's not on our agenda. But I think to be clear, to take on this role of board secretary, especially after someone who held it for 22 years, to come in and do such a phenomenal, amazing job supporting all of us. It is an honor to pause and recognize you, Tom Giles. Let me try to for you. One, have a certificate from the Missouri School Board Association recognizing you for your work. And then we also have a gift and a card from us. Great. We have to sneak it up on you because you
I
wouldn't have let it happen.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to serve the board, superintendent, district leadership, and most importantly, in some capacity, help with the teachers and the students and the families, our community at SSD. I'm grateful and touched, but don't do it again next year.
I cannot make that promise. Is there anything anybody wants to add?
Oh, I'd just like to say, it was so nice to welcome you in and you hit the ground running.
Yes.
and You have crossed the Ts and dotted the Is, and we're so happy to be working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay. 7.04 financial reporting methodology. Is there a motion to approve the financial reporting methodology?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'm thrilled that we're moving to this model. I think cash basis is going to help us understand our financial reports better. I know we talked about this in finance committee, and I look forward to seeing how this impacts our ability to really track what's happening. For me, that's a clearer method. It's what I've used on other boards I've been on. Looking forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah, I just
Great.
like to echo that, being on the financial board and so forth with Joanne, that the whole idea of transparency, as we heard earlier, is so important to us as a board. We want to be transparent. We want community members. We want staff, everybody to know exactly where we are and be transparent with all that information. So to us, that's very important.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 7.06 budget adjustments, federal programs. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 7.07 deaf and hard of hearing classroom rental and tuition. Is there a motion to approve the financial deaf and hard of hearing classroom rental and tuition?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I believe we need to go back to 7.06
Did I-
after this.
We missed
We'll
one.
finish.
Did I skip one? Oh.
So 7.07, let's vote on that and let's go back to 7.06.
Thank you for catching that. I apologize.
Thank you.
Okay, 7.07. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No, it was
7.6.
Dr. Sartorius and Erica Beavers. Yep. Okay. 7.06, I apologize. Budget adjustment, federal programs. Is there a motion to approve
So
budget
moved.
adjustment, federal?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So motion carries. 7.08 position modifications. Is there a motion to approve the position modifications?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 7.09 special education position modifications. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 7.10 Behavior helper amended contract. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 711 SDNEA joint resolution. Is there a motion to approve the SDNEA joint resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I would just like to say that I'm so pleased that we've come to an agreement in April. I've sat on both sides of the negotiating table and I think it's really important that everyone be satisfied with where we are. And thank you to the union for making their statement and ratifying. And we know the board has also done their due diligence. I won't say anything until we vote for sure, but this met so many of our requirements or requests, especially that no one lose money from year to year. That was something that we really wanted to carry through. I'd like to thank everybody who supported the process, administrators and representatives of SDNEA and the board.
I'd like to echo that and also add that this creates a foundation for future work together to create our very best situations for kids and staff. And I really appreciate the work that our administration folks put into that too, to go through all the books and make sure everything's just so. So thank you for all that.
And I think it's important that you all represented us well, and because we are very passionate about making sure that our staff feel supported and valued. Yep. Any other discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Board of Education business 7.01, closed meeting of the Board of Education, Tuesday, April 22nd and Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 at 7 p.m. Now I ask for a motion to hold those closed meetings, both tonight and Tuesday, May 13th.
So moved.
May I modify that to 7 p.m. or whenever this meeting is over?
Or later.
If that's okay. with
Yes, or later,
I'll second.
Or earlier.
or earlier.
you. I think we need to
Like-
vote then
like
on
the-
the change.
Change the late. Okay, I'll say that again. 7.01, closed meeting for the Board of Education, roll call vote Tuesday, April 22nd and Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 at the end of the business meeting those evenings. May I have a motion to hold those closed meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Roll.
Oh, wait, it's a roll call. I apologize. Roll call.
Do we need to vote on the amended time?
At the end of the,
We need
just
to-
vote on the motion
need to vote
to
on
change the amended time.
motion.
Okay.
We have-
Vote on the amendment and then the motion.
Vote on the amendment. Does the amendment need a roll call as well? I want to be clear. Okay, thank you. So voting for the amendment of the time at the end of the business meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Director Beaver,
Yes.
Director Sartorius.
Yes.
Director Suda,
Yes.
Vice President Cuneo,
Yes.
President State.
Yes. Okay. So the new request is to have the closed meeting of the Board of Education, Tuesday, April 22nd and Tuesday, May 13th at the end of the business meeting. May I have a roll call? Oh, I need a motion. I apologize.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Director Beaver,
Yes.
Director Sartorius.
Yes.
Director Suda,
Yes.
Vice President Cuneo,
Yes.
President State.
Yes. Okay, the motion to approve the holding closed meeting, to hold those closed meetings carries. 7.02, board vacancy. Okay, the chairs now invite Walter Garrett and Latoya Nelson to the podium, please. Okay, as they come to come forward, the board would like to offer our sincere and deep appreciation to you both for your interest in serving on this board and the effort made thus far in this process. We'd like to ask you to take 3 minutes each to articulate to the board why it is that you want to be on the Board of Education for the Special School Districts of St. Louis County. I'll ask Walter to speak first, followed by Latoya, please.
Thank you very much. I have no prepared notes or prepared speech. You've seen my application, so you know my background and my credentials. I will simply say that my family, in one way or another, has been involved in this district for about 40 years, gray hair notwithstanding. In that time, we've served in a number of different roles, and in all of those, we've attempted to do our best to advance the needs of the district and serve the students that we have. Finding that there was an opening on the board came as a bit of a surprise to me. But once I heard that it was open, and particularly for my sub-district, I felt that I still had some skills that I could offer. And I hope you will review those and act accordingly. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Nelson.
Hello to everyone on the board. My name is Latoya Nelson. I also serve in Sub-District 4. My career expertise is technology. I am passionate about serving this position. Why? Because I also have a son that's autistic. I advocate for plenty of students with special needs. I've also educated parents about the processes in special education. I've also worked close with teachers, so I know the needs of the parents and the students. Also, as well as the district, my expertise will allow me to help the board see the needs of the sub-districts that I am candidacy for.
Thank you. We have one additional question. Finally, as you know, this appointment will be for 1 year. Are you interested in running again next year, or are you thinking of serving just this 1 year? We will start with Ms. Nelson.
I would like to serve continually. Why? Because like I said, my son, he's autistic. I know the needs of the sub-districts. I work in Ferguson, Florissant School District. The wave is technology, and I can bring a lot to the district. I've, been in here listening to some of the presentations, and I'm just kind of applaud, but at the same time, I want to be an asset to the board.
Thank you. Mr. Garrett.
I think that was well said and sort of represents my approach. I said to Mr. Giles when I picked up the application, beginning with 1 year is a good way to get my feet wet and see how I fit in and what I can do to help the board. It also gives me a chance to understand far better the problems and the issues that are being debated in the board now. I am available if chance should have it for more than 1 year. My health is good. The only family responsibilities I have at this point are a cat and a wife. And sometimes we debate over which of those comes first. But assuming all goes well during the first year, I would certainly love to, at this point, I would certainly love to stand for re-election for additional years.
Thank you. I now ask for a motion to do a roll call vote for these candidates.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just one statement. I think I've reviewed your applications. I'm impressed with both of you. I would strongly hope that whoever does not get this, both of you, I'd love to see reapply. And I would also hope that both of you still keep active, involved in SSD. You both will be a benefit for our community. Thank you for applying.
All right, please call for the question.
Director Beaver,
Ms. Nelson.
Director Sartorius,
Miss Nelson.
Director Suda,
Ms. Nelson.
Vice President Cuneo,
Walter,
and President State.
Latoya Nelson.
We have 4 votes for Latoya Nelson and 1 vote for.
All right, let the record reflect the board is appointing Latoya Nelson to serve as the Sub-District 4 board member until the governing council's March 2026 election.
thank you.
Thank you both. Congratulations. All right, board communication. Now I want to open the floor to any board members wishing to make any comments. I have a few too. You want me to start? You want to? I can start. I feel like it's been a busy time since we last set up here. So just wanted to share a few things that I've done just because I think that I've been doing, just because I think it is important that for the public to know, like, this work doesn't end when we walk out of this room. So had a chance to attend an SBA a couple of weeks ago, which was really informative. I felt like I learned a lot, and I think it's important that you continue to pour into yourself and learn in this position and in this role, just to be better at what we do in representing families and children. And then a good part of that is I actually got to spend some time with some of our partner district board members while there and checking in with them. And it was really amazing because one of the districts that I represent in checking in with them said, what can I do as a board member to continue to maintain and build a quality relationship with SSD in our district? And I felt like that was a huge win. And y'all will be happy to know, I said, send as many principals as you can to the Principal Institute. The more that district administrators understand the work that we do, the better our partnerships will be. And so I was really excited to share that, to have that conversation. Also got to attend the MASA Awards Dinner honoring Dr. Macklin, continue to do great things as an emerging leader of the year. I also had a chance with some of my peers, and Joe was there with me. That was a great time, but I'll let him comment on it. Also got to go to the SSD Salutes and Inspiring Futures dinner, which was great. It's always good to just acknowledge and just affirm and appreciate the folks that are partnering with us and our staff and the amazing work that they are doing. And then I just also wanted to say, like, I went to Jeff City and met with some lobbyists, not in the role of a board member, but you never just take this hat off. I went in the role of a student, but I am always thinking about our students and continuing to advocate for them. And I did the same thing at NSBA. I answered a slew of questions about how board members can advocate for students with disabilities, and that folks just got a lot of questions about the amazing work that we do. And I just feel like wanted to share that I'm always advocating. And if there's somewhere y'all want me to be to continue to do that, I will try to fit it into my busy schedule. Let me know.
Sure. I also attended the Special School District Salutes event. It was just wonderful to honor some amazing people and to recognize our retirees who've given so much to our district over the years. It was a beautiful event and it was well done. Thanks to everybody who supported the event. Beautiful. I'm part of the St. Louis Area School Board Professional Learning Community, which, as our new board members may or may not know, is designed to bring together superintendents and school board members throughout St. Louis County. We're an ad hoc group. We've been having meetings twice a year. Our next meeting is going to be on June 6th from 4 until 6 p.m. It's going to be a meet and greet event. We're not going to follow the format of the learning that we've been doing. We're going to have a meet and greet and just an opportunity to connect with other board members, because we really are sharing in this work, and working on our own board is great, but being connected with other boards, especially as SSD board members who do connect with all the other districts, is really a great thing. It's something that I've been supporting. I was one of the founding members in 2018, and I recommend the event. It's very nice.
You said at 6.
It's from 4 until 6 on June 6th. And you should be getting an invitation and email, save the date very soon. We're still finalizing all the finer details, but we have a date and a time. And then I'm part of the DESE Regional Early Childhood Education Leaders Hub. We had a meeting again this month, and we had a presentation from University of Missouri at Columbia. They're really doing a fine job of compiling resources for families. So there's a lot out there. DESE is integrating a lot of resources for families of young children on their Office of Childhood website. And I'll be happy to point anybody in that direction if they need support there. So that's me for now. Thank you.
A lot more to come.
Right.
It May is a busy, very busy time, and I also went to the salute event and was able to see some very dear colleagues get appreciated for their retirement and their service. What impressed me a lot was Dr. Lyons right there trying to say, "Can we sign you back up?" Good job, because these teachers now can come back and work for us again, right, Dr. Lyons? So we encourage folks to come back, especially our wonderful teachers that do such a great job for us. Also went to the MASA conference and made some real good connections there. The last week we had the Missouri Security Investment Programs, which I sit on the board for, representing Missouri School Board Association. It's good to know that our funds in that program in municipalities, St. Louis County, several other municipalities have money in there for short-term purposes. If you have a bond issue or something like that, that's where the money goes. And hopefully the organization then can get interest. So our money's very safe and secure, even with these volatile times. And we're doing quite well. So, and I'd like to recognize our wonderful CEO of finance for keeping us involved in all that. So thank you very much.
Any other? I packed up my notes, y'all. Any other comments? Be patient with me while I unpack my notes. I just,
Can I make a motion to adjourn, please?
you may.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call.
Director Beaver,
Yes.
Director Sartorius.
Yes.
Director Suda,
Yes.
Vice President Cuneo.
Yes.
President.
Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Dr.